Hey, it's MK, and I am back with Scraptember and 30 Days of Sketches. Here is the sketch by Scrapbook Challenges that we will be doing today, and the prompt today is multi-photo, which is not a challenge for me because I enjoy having multiple photos all over my layout, single or doubled as they were. And this one, I happened to pull out a ton of oldies but goodies. So I started with some Creative Memories sticker sheets, as well as these old Close to My Heart sticker sheets, a couple Kaiser Craft die cuts, as well as some Creative Memories really old stickers and die cuts. And then I have some chipboard from Stamperia. Now I have a couple printed chipboard pieces that came in a Stamperia pack, as well as some raw chipboard pieces. Now I thought that I was going to need some more embellishments than what I already had picked out, so I picked out this chipboard, knowing very well that I would probably distress it some way, shape, or form, but I never did. So I also picked out some pattern paper from the Urban Collection from Close to My Heart. This one happens to be a remake from 2019. I believe the first time this came out was way back in 2014, maybe even 2012, somewhere in there. I can't remember. And then, of course, I pulled out two pieces of Little Yellow Bicycle, the Zach's Life collection. I will be using the gray side rather than this neon yellow side. I am going to take this diamond plate paper and cut it into 4x6s for my photo mats. And then I'm going to take this wood grain paper, flip it over so I have this almost like crackled paint texture, and then also wood grain texture for a couple little strips going across. Now there's not a whole lot of paper involved in this sketch. It's mostly just a band going across, photos above and below the band, and then some embellishments and a really, really long title. So that's what I'm going to do. Now this is photos of my children that went to Bozeman for their aunt's wedding, and they got bored, so Dad took them to the museum. I have loads and loads of pictures of them at the museum, and you can tell some of them are getting a little cranky. It's okay though. I still will scrapbook even the sad faces. So I'm just trying to figure out how I like my layout laid out. I'm trying to figure out the way that I want my photos and all this stuff. I just can't figure out how I want it done. So I figured, you know what? I know I want them all inked, so I'm going to go and ink all of the edges. And then when I put it together, I'll figure it out as I go. That's the best thing that works for me. So I'm going to pull out my ruler and make sure that this little band is going to go directly in the center. I don't want it to go above, like above center, you know, like it's left of center, but really it's north of center. Like the sketch has indicated. And I didn't put the sketch up in the little corner because normally when I work on a two-page layout, the two-page layout takes up the entire frame, and I didn't want to cover it up by an annoying sketch. So I apologize about that. But honestly, it is a pretty simple sketch, even though I do like the end result. I like how busy it ends up being, in all honesty. At first I thought I was going to have to throw in another color or two because this was getting to be a little plain and I didn't know what to do with it after a while, but then it started coming together rather nicely. So I'm going to continue my little path of the border going around the center, as well as I decided to put my photos. At first I was going to have my two photos of the antique cars at the bottom on the left and the right side pages, and then I kind of didn't like the symmetry of it, and it just kind of looked more too cookie cutter for me. So I thought, no, I'm going to put both of these down here at the bottom, just like in the sketch. The sketch has two down at the bottom as well, even though they are on the smaller side. I just haven't figured out how I'm going to do my upper photos because of how large they are and how much space they take. So if I do a 4x6, or which is actually a little smaller, if I do that over on the left side page, it's going to run into the car that I have going vertical down below. So I decided to do my 4x4 photos above that car and have my two 4x6 photos over on the right hand side. I really like this layout going on right now, so I decided that I'm going to move on before I actually adhere all of these down to double check, kind of let it seed for a little bit before I decide whether or not I am going to actually keep it in place. So I'm going to work on the title, and the first thing I do is I see that I don't have the letters I need for what I had originally planned. So I have to do my smaller words in the larger fonts, or I should say the puffier fonts. And then my thin alphas, which is a sticker book from Simple Stories, is actually going to be my larger word. So I kind of wanted it to be opposite of that, but that is okay. And another thing also that kind of sort of doesn't go well with me is the fact that wheels are the only thing in gold, and everything else, as far as the Simple Stories and the other thickers that I used, they're all wood grain. So I thought about it, changing out the wheels into a wood grain as well. And then I thought, no, because it's supposed to represent the chrome on the cars. Back in the day, they really liked to put the chrome and brass it up. It's actually brass, not chrome. We didn't have chrome on the car. I say we like I'm back in the day. No. They didn't use chrome on the cars back then. They actually used real brass. So, which is kind of fancy. And definitely why they had people polish their cars back in the day a lot more than they do now. So anyways, history buff going on here. So my title is going to be Wheels Through the Years, because there is, like a horse-drawn chariot in the back that used to be the fire truck. And then there's also a horse-drawn wagon that my children are standing in front of. And then, of course, all of the nice classic cars all the way up to the wood grain wagon, which, just is missing a surfboard. I mean, come on, that guy's awesome. So I am going to go through all of my sticker sheets and pull off all the stickers that I think I'm going to be using. And sometimes I use everything that I put on my sheet, and sometimes I do not. But I do enjoy going through all my supplies and pulling them out first before just, start slapping things on a layout from the sticker sheets. I really feel like this is my process. And this is what works for me, because then I can visualize, once I have everything on one sheet, I can visualize what it is that I'm trying to accomplish, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to go ahead and commit. I absolutely love the fact that I have the 2 photos on one side and then the 4 photos on the other, because then that leaves me with a rather large title underneath the 2 photos on the right, instead of having a title go from right to left, which I could have done if I wanted to, but I chose not to. Now, I did cut up this large gear from Creative Memories, so that way I could use it on 2 different spots in my layout. I think that also helped with the flow of the layout, being able to have similar to but not exact icons going all the way across. I didn't have tires per se, but I did have rather large gears, and I am glad that I finally got to use them up. I'm more drawn towards the smaller gears and things that I can tuck in and around things. So these larger gears have been in my stash for quite some time. Because it does take a while for me to use things up. The other large gears, or I should say different sized gears, will be throughout my my title, so that way my title looks like it's part of the decoration as well. So just tucking things in here and there and finding little homes. There was some little elements on top of my Close to My Heart sticker sheet that kind of looked like nuts and bolts and screws and things like that. And so what I'm doing to make them look a little more dimensional is I'm inking the edges as I go, instead of place everything down and then ink later, because then I thought, well, this way I am able to actually glue as I go, so that way I don't have to worry about like placing and then gluing lots of times. So I also brought in this tape measure because of the fact that I have this little I have this circular quote, I guess is what it is, or saying that I wanted to introduce that has to talk about measuring. And so I thought, oh, well, that would be perfect to bring in a little ruler and then bring in this little quote to go with it. And then of course, you know, put the little car, kind of like making a little cluster, right? So that's what I thought. And then yes, of course, this this really uber thin sticker from Creative Memories it was the perfect icon to use on this layout due to the fact that it matched all the cars in the pictures, but it's almost see-through. So I did debate about putting it on paper, but I did not. I'm also going to cut down this border strip that says something about time as well. And so I thought that I would just put on 3 of them and put it along the border with the wood grain strips that I used, because of the fact that it's supposed to be my journaling that is on there. I also took these larger gears from the Creative Memory sticker the Close to My Heart sticker sheets, and I inked those edges. That way they popped up just a little bit more. When I first laid them down, they actually kind of just blended in with the background. So I do like the fact that they are inked and definitely are more visible. And I do have to take those chipboard pieces because they are kind of sort of a little bit warped. I do have to put tear and tape behind them to make sure that they will stay on the layout because of the slight warpage going on. And then this last Creative Memories border sticker that I'm going to be using is just a bunch of nuts actually on a border strip. And so I thought that it would be perfect to go right underneath and above the title. Now I'm going to attach the title. And halfway through, I decide that I'm going to use this chain right here, but I didn't know where to put it. So I thought, oh, well, let's see if it'll help the word through stand out a little bit more. In person, it does. And then I also put the word the underneath the little motorcycle that they had, which is kind of like an antique motorcycle chipboard piece that I had. But the word through still kind of sort of does not stick out. So I need to come up with something. But I'm still trying to finish off the decorations and whatnot, and finish off how I want my layout. So I went through all of my pens, and I found this blue Muji pen that my friend Janet gave me during one of our retreats. And I decided to outline all of the letters around the word through, and now it is much more better. You can definitely see it and visually see it, and I absolutely love how it is. Time is a gift. That's what it says. So here are the finished layouts and how they turned out. I absolutely love how this turned out. Now it's not as grungy as I was expecting it to be, but in the end I kind of sort of like all of the tones. I like the low muted tone of this layout, and the word wheels coming in kind of in a bronzy color. I don't know. I really like the flow of this layout, to be particular. All right. I want to thank you guys so very much for joining us, and well, for joining me. There is no mouse in my pocket. It's just me. Be sure to check out everyone else that is playing along with Scraptember and Christy's 30 Days of Sketches. All of their links are down below in the description box if you want to hit the little arrow to see who all is playing along with either the prompt or the sketch or both. And I will see you guys all later. All right. Thank you so much. Bye.